Hello, my name is Stuart Sheehan. I'm the president of World Hope Ministries International. Thank you for taking just a few moments to hear about what God has been doing this year and why we are excited about the year to come. In this short video presentation, you're going to hear from one of our partners who has been deeply impacted by the pandemic and other natural disasters. You're going to hear how World Hope has been able to be an encouragement and blessing to this partner so they in turn can be a blessing to others. You're also going to hear in this video presentation from a couple of our Bible Institute locations where the work has continued. Even though we've not been able to be there, they are still carrying out the work of training pastors to see healthy churches that can transform communities, and we're so thankful for that. You're also going to hear a little excerpt from a conversation by Dr. Billy Ross and myself where we're talking about why we're excited about the year to come. A brief testimony from one of our board members about why he and his wife are excited to support this work. And then finally, a brief testimony from David Weekley. David Weekley Family Foundation has been such a blessing to us these last few years and such an encouragement. I asked David if he would just take a moment to share why he is committed to supporting this work. So thank you for taking just a bit of time to learn about what God has been doing at World Hope. Thank you.
Dios les bendiga, amados hermanos del Ministerio World Hope. Soy el pastor Jorge Durán, director de World Hope aquí en Honduras, sirviendo en Honduras y también en otros países de Centroamérica. A lo largo de muchos años ustedes me han apoyado económica, material, espiritualmente, para poder llevar la gran comisión a muchas regiones en nuestro país y fuera de nuestro país. Muchos pastores y líderes han sido capacitados y ellos están al frente de iglesias, formando nuevas iglesias y estos a su vez reproduciéndose en otras. Durante la pandemia, los fondos que enviaron nos sirvieron para compartir comida, principalmente bolsas de comida para distintas familias y comprarles medicinas a mucha gente que estado encerrada durante todo este tiempo. También ayudamos en compra de materiales y alimentación a algunos pastores y líderes que sus iglesias estaban cerradas y ellos no recibían ninguna entrada económica. También personalmente me sirvió a mí para comprar comida porque todo se dañó. En la iglesia no había mucha entrada para ayudar a los pastores. Conexión de internet y etcétera, etcétera, se nos ha ayudado. ¿Cómo pueden orar? Oren para que las personas sigan siendo receptivas al Evangelio, a los pastores y líderes que estamos trabajando en este tiempo, que Dios nos dé fuerza a través del Espíritu Santo y podamos seguir llevando la gran comisión a pastores y líderes, a iglesias nuevas en distintas regiones en nuestro país. Gracias, hermanos, por todo su apoyo que ustedes han hecho a mí y a cientos de personas aquí en Centroamérica. Esperamos que sus oraciones y su apoyo espiritual y material siga con nosotros. Bendiciones.
Bonjour, très cher pasteur Craig. Avant tout propos, je voudrais dire merci à World Hope avec à sa tête le docteur Sheehan pour ce cours de qualité qui est une bénédiction pour les pasteurs à travers le monde, particulièrement en Côte d'Ivoire. Et les instituts bibliques en Côte d'Ivoire ont bien fonctionné en 2020. Par la grâce de Dieu, nous avons actuellement 7 campus qui fonctionnent bien avec plus de 400 pasteurs à la formation. Et si Dieu fait grâce, 4 campus recevront leur diplôme de fin de formation en février prochain. Et par la grâce de Dieu, nous allons ouvrir en décembre prochain celle du département de Kong, qui sera la 8e école qui sera ouverte en Côte d'Ivoire. Et nous bénissons le Seigneur vraiment pour le cours de qualité qui est une bénédiction pour les pasteurs à travers la Côte d'Ivoire. Que Dieu bénisse World Hope au nom de Jésus. Je voudrais partager le témoignage de notre très cher pasteur Alou Nguessan Valentin, qui est de la première promotion World Hope en Côte d'Ivoire. Après la formation, il est parti implanter l'église dans la région de Boaké, précisément à Botro. où actuellement il a 5 églises implantées avec plus de 300 fidèles. Il bénit vraiment le Seigneur pour les qualités des cours de World Hope qui l'a permis de pouvoir être mieux équipé pour implanter des églises, pour sauver des âmes dans cette région. Je bénis vraiment le Seigneur pour tous ces témoignages qui nous parviennent des étudiants qui rendent le témoignage de ce que l'Institut biblique a mené comme transformation dans leur manière d'enseigner, dans leur manière de prêcher. Et nous bénissons vraiment le Seigneur pour World Hope, pour ces cours de qualité qui fait du bien aux pasteurs.
My name is Matt Weenus, and I am honored to be here today to share with you my experience with World Hope Ministries International and why my wife and I are proud sponsors of this great organization. Our initial introduction to the group and to the organization came through a relationship we had with Stuart, and just an interest that we had in their unique approach to pastoral training and to mission work, and things that set it a little bit apart from other things that we had seen and witnessed. And while we had been financial sponsors for many years, it wasn't actually until last year that I finally went on a trip to northern Uganda with Stuart and now fellow board member Larry Kerr. When I was in Uganda, we took part in opening 2 different schools, 2 different Bible institutes. And what struck me as so incredible is that it was 2 very different circumstances with 2 very different groups of people in 2 very different contexts. One had people who were highly educated, some even had seminary backgrounds, and one had people who had little to no formal education. But what was unchanged and what was constant throughout it was that the curriculum and the material that was taught stuck and held and was equally effective in any circumstance. And thinking about it, it really should come as no surprise, because what gets taught in the Bible Institute is simply the unvarnished, unfiltered Word of God. It's biblical truth, and that has merit and will always carry. It was great to see. It was revolutionary for me, and just confirmation of that the work that World Hope is doing matters, makes a difference, and will continue to matter and make a difference for many years to come. And we would just love everyone to be a part of it. And that may look different ways. It may be praying for us, praying with us, coming along for the journey and on a spiritual sense. It may be partnering and coming and teaching a course. Come along and see what World Hope is doing around the world. It may be partnering with us and joining the advisory board, coming and being a part of how do we lend our talents and skills to continue to help and accomplish the work that God has for us. Thank you for taking the time. We are passionate about this cause, about the work that we're doing, that World Hope is doing, and thank you, so grateful for your time.
Well, Billy, we really did have a wonderful meeting with the associate directors, and I know we spent a lot of time talking about what we did well, what we could have done better, what we learned. But I really felt like the meeting ended with a lot of excitement about 2021, and that's a little bit unusual, I think, maybe considering where we are. But tell me a little bit about why you are excited about 2021.
Yeah, I think one thing, Stuart, is being excited about 2021 because of what we learned in 2020 as COVID started making restrictions, and then it started just canceling altogether for weeks and months in advance. And so as we prayerfully sought God's direction of how to continue to fulfill our mission and to fulfill it strategically, it came obvious to us that we would have to change some of our tactics. So as we prayed through this, as we talked through this, I believe that God really did give us at least 3 different areas that we started to implement in 2020 and started to test that is really going to be multiplied in 2021. The first one and the most obvious is Zoom. We strongly prefer in-person teaching. Although it's more expensive, you cannot replace the incarnational aspect of being on the field with these men not only imparting them information, but imparting them your life and your passion and just the entire things that go along with being there personally. But if you can't be there in person, if Zoom's not as good as in person, it's certainly better than not doing anything. And so we have been able to begin some Zoom classes. This week, I will be teaching in Grenada via Zoom. I will be teaching in Guyana via Zoom, even helping some of those students to become graduates so that they can replicate there in Guyana. And so that's a tremendous blessing. We thank God for that. The other part, or the second part, is to be able to see the real life fleshing out of part of our strategy of 2 Timothy 2:2 of making disciples who will make disciples, or teaching teachers who will teach others. And so we're able to utilize national partners and recent graduates of World Hope Bible Institute who are not only continuing instructing in places like the Ivory Coast or Cameroon or Ghana, but are actually, after graduation, going and setting up new locations of the Institute in other places. And that will only expand and grow in 2021. So that which we have seen kind of started and had to develop and pray through and discuss in 2020, we are really going to be able to leverage that and see that multiplied in 2021 until, God willing, God's sovereignty either lifts this pandemic and allows us to travel again, or till he enables our medical community to come up with an effective vaccine. But we will not be stopping. We will not even be pausing. Same philosophy, same strategy, different tactics. And that's why we can be excited about 2021.
So Francis, we had 2 generations of classes going on.
Yeah.
What was the first generation doing today?
The generation is the test, the books that they study, they are supposed to come and take the exam. So they are here taking the exam today.
So the first generation was taking the exam.
Yes.
And then the second generation was learning.
Learning.
Okay. We're doing expository preaching today.
Yeah.
So then what are some of the plans that the pastors have after they graduate? Are they going off to plant churches? What are they doing?
Yes, well, a lot of them have a plan. When they finish, they study, they go out to plant churches and be able to train more people so that they can also plant more churches.
We just keep multiplying, right?
Multiplying, yes.
What is it that you guys always say? His last command
is our first concern.
His last command is our first concern. That's beautiful. Thank you, Francis. I appreciate it.
Hello, my name is David Weekly, and I've had the privilege of working with and supporting many different ministries over the last 25 years. I would like to share with you about an especially effective one. World Hope Ministries International is making an incredible impact around the world. They are responding to the global need for thoughtful, credible training among pastors, approximately 3 to 4 million of which have no formal theological training. These dedicated and committed pastors are key influencers within their communities, and their ability to lead their community through sound biblical theology is paramount. WHMI currently works in 31 countries, serving approximately 5,000 student pastors through a robust, cost-effective 16-course program. At the David Weekly Family Foundation, we look for ministries that empower rather than create dependency. We became acquainted with their work several years ago and have watched it closely. Stuart and the board of directors are committed to quality and integrity, and they're eager to learn from their mistakes and their successes. When we observed their work in the field, we were impressed. They are doing what they say they are doing. Their innovative disciple-making model is locally led and not constrained by traditional brick and mortar buildings. Instead, WHMI has pioneered a train-the-trainer model that allows biblical training to spread exponentially through every market they enter. They are truly demonstrating that quality theological training can be successfully multiplied at scale. We believe it is a highly effective model and has great potential to make a huge impact on the expansion of God's kingdom. This is a ministry that we are excited to support. God bless.
Thank you so much for taking time to listen and to learn about what God has been doing and why we are excited about the coming year. You know, as we look at the year to come, although God has been very active and we've seen the work expand this year, even though we've not been able to be in the field, we believe that 2021 is going to be a benchmark year for expansion. Throughout this year, we have continued to receive pleas, come and help, come and help, come and help. We want to say yes to every one of those requests, but we realize that we will only be able to say yes as God provides. So here's where we are. We are trusting God to move on sufficient people to provide the resource to do the work God wants us to do. And you're part of that. We're not asking you to give. We're asking you to ask God whether you should give. We know that this ministry is not the one everybody is going to give to, and yet we believe it is an important, impacting, gospel-forward, strategic ministry that is essential to the health of the global church. So we don't mind asking you to pray and say, Lord, would you want me to support this work? If that's you and God has called you to support, you can do that. Accompanying this video, you'll find a link to give. You can also just simply go to WHMI.org and you'll see a way to navigate to give. Whether that's a year-end gift or a regular gift in the coming year, we will use those resources to continue the path that God has us on, and that is seeing pastors and leaders trained so we can see healthy churches and communities transformed by the gospel. This Christmas season, really, that is what we celebrate in the coming of Jesus Christ, that He has come and He has set up His kingdom among His people. And our task is to see that people from every nation, every tribe, and every tongue join His kingdom and declare Him as Lord and King. May God richly bless you and your family this season. Thank you so much for taking these few minutes to learn about what God is doing at World Hope and why we are excited about 2021. God bless you.